Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, who will truly take care of you as you grow older? If you think your children will automatically be there for you, I want you to pause and think again. This is a story about what happens when life doesn't go as planned, and how one man, much like many of us, faced the harsh reality of aging alone despite a lifetime of sacrifices for his family. In this video, you'll hear how years of giving and putting others first left him without the financial or emotional safety net he thought he had. You'll discover why relying solely on children or inheritance can leave you vulnerable and why it's so important to take control of your future, starting today. If you've ever felt uncertain or worried about your aging journey, this story will resonate deeply. You'll learn the 3 essential things every senior must protect to preserve dignity, freedom, and peace of mind: money, health, and home. Stay with me until the end, because I'll share practical steps and heartfelt lessons on how to reclaim your independence and build a life that honors your choices, no matter your age or situation. This isn't just about preparing for the end, it's about living fully and confidently on your terms, right now. So, are you ready to take control of your own story? Let's begin. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. My wife, Linda, had always been a pillar in our community. She worked for the local county office for many years, and even after retiring, she stayed actively involved, organizing neighborhood events, volunteering at the library, and helping with the local church choir. For a decade after she passed away, I made it a point to soak up morning sunlight every day and stayed involved in the community choir myself. I honestly believed I was in better shape than most of the folks around our neighborhood here in the Chicago suburbs. But recently, everything changed. I experienced an episode of arrhythmia that shook me to my core. Suddenly, I was in and out of hospitals, endless blood tests, ECGs, doctor's visits, and mountains of paperwork. It all felt like a harsh wake-up call, a reckoning with mortality I hadn't expected. Sitting in that hospital room, watching my children gathered around me, I realized something profound. Our generation, the baby boomers and the silent generation before us, were never really taught how to face old age with peace and dignity. We worked hard, often sacrificing our well-being, to provide for our families. But planning for our futures? That was almost an afterthought, even after we retired. That night, I lay awake, haunted by the doctor's words, the worried looks of my children, the sterile hospital environment, and a faded photo of Linda smiling back at me from the bedside table. Then, a neighbor's advice echoed in my mind. Mr. Collins, an elderly man from down the street, had once told me, "It's not scary to prepare for the end, but what's truly frightening is to grow old without any plan." That thought galvanized me. I decided to go home, not as an act of denial or anger, but as a deliberate choice to take back control of my life. I wasn't wealthy by any means. I'd worked for years in an administrative role for the city government here in Chicago. It wasn't glamorous or easy, but it was steady work that put food on the table. My wife Linda and I scrimped and saved every penny to put our son, Michael, through college and our daughter, Sarah, through nursing school. After I retired, I received a modest pension, around $1,100 a month from my employer's retirement plan. Between medication, utilities, groceries, and other bills, it was tight but manageable. When Linda was alive, weekends were simple and joyful. We'd stroll hand in hand through the neighborhood park, stopping by the local coffee shop for our morning brew, then attend socials or community events for seniors. I remember feeling that she had a sense of calm then, more peaceful than at any time before. But Linda's passing was sudden and devastating. When the ambulance came for her, she was already unconscious. From that moment, the house felt emptier and colder. Coming home alone was frightening, facing a dinner table set for one, knowing there was no one to remind me to grab a jacket before stepping outside on chilly days. So, I threw myself into supporting my children. When Michael got married and needed help with the down payment on his first house, he called me. Without hesitation, I withdrew $5,000 from my savings and sent it to him. Their home wasn't big, just a modest 2-bedroom in a Chicago suburb, but it was their own, a milestone I was proud to help them achieve. Sarah, my daughter, quit her job after her marriage to stay home with her young son. Most of the financial strain fell on her and her husband. One day, she called me asking for help to buy a car so she could drive their son to and from school. I sent her the money right away. Later, when she struggled with mental health challenges, I covered the cost of after-school care and therapy for my grandson. When my granddaughter wanted to take art classes, I was happy to support her. When she asked to continue piano lessons, I agreed again without hesitation. That summer, when Sarah wanted her children to attend an English enrichment program, I said yes once more. Whenever my granddaughter got sick, I took her to a trusted natural medicine clinic in the city and paid for her treatment. I never once told Sarah to worry about the expenses. At first, I felt a deep sense of pride, a father's joy in being able to provide and be needed. It was proof, in a way, that I was still useful, still part of their lives. But our generation was raised with the idea that children are everything and that parents must silently sacrifice for them. Over time, the consequences of that belief became painfully clear. My savings, which once comfortably topped $25,000, dwindled to less than $750. I'll never forget the day I stood at the bank counter, hearing the teller quietly say, "Mr. Anderson, your current balance is $700. For a moment, my mind went blank. It was a sobering reality check. In today's world, where unexpected medical emergencies can drain resources fast, $700 wouldn't even cover a month's expenses in many cases. I had never seriously considered saving for myself. Every time my children called, needing help, I felt I couldn't say no. I told myself I was old enough to endure a bit more hardship. But I was wrong. I forgot that health is fragile. I forgot that time waits for no one. And I forgot a harsh truth, that if I fell ill, no one could be more reliable than me. I only truly realized this when illness caught up with me. No matter how much care you give others, it's never guaranteed they will care for you in return. That morning, like any other, I was preparing for my usual walk around the local park. But the moment I put on my shoes, a sharp pain slammed into my chest, like a heavy stone pressing down, and I couldn't catch my breath. I grabbed the porch post and crouched down, my shirt soaked with sweat. By sheer luck, my neighbor Helen was passing by and saw my pale face. She called 911 immediately, and an ambulance rushed me to a hospital near downtown Chicago. Dr. Roberts, the cardiologist on call, diagnosed me with arrhythmia and mild dehydration. Thankfully, I'd come in early enough that I wasn't in critical danger. Still, I needed to stay in the hospital for monitoring, ECGs, blood work, and observation. When the news got out, my children gathered in my hospital room. Michael, Sarah, and their spouses sat around me, the mood heavy and tense like a cold winter morning. Michael frowned as he flipped through my medical charts and said, "Dad, with this condition, living alone isn't safe anymore. Honestly, you should move into a senior care facility." "That's true," Sarah added. "They have nurses available 24/7, provide meals, laundry service, and there are companions to keep you company so you're not lonely." My daughter-in-law, Michelle, quietly nodded. "Our home isn't far away. We'll visit on weekends and help out as much as we can." I sat quietly, each word sinking into me like a cold splash of water. What they said was right. Senior living communities here in Illinois are generally clean, well-managed, and fully equipped. Choosing one wouldn't be a burden for my children. But there was one thing no one asked me: what did I want? No one suggested taking turns staying at my house or asking me, "Dad, how do you want to live from now on?" No one sat down with me to talk about my wishes or even asked if I had a will. I'm not expecting my children to quit their jobs and dedicate themselves to caring for me full-time. Times have changed. They have their own families, careers, and busy lives. Still, I never imagined that I would so quickly become a stranger in their daily lives, as if I had been quietly removed. My daughter Sarah pulled out a pamphlet from her purse, holding it out gently. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. "Dad, this is a senior living facility in the southern part of town," she said. "It's got modern amenities, 24-hour nursing care, meal services, and medical support. The government subsidizes a portion, so the cost is about $700 a month." That number swirled in my head. My monthly pension was $1,100. After paying for newspapers, utilities, groceries, medications, and routine doctor visits, moving into that place would mean I'd be left with almost nothing for myself. I didn't agree or refuse. Quietly, I said, "I want to go home and think about it." My children nodded, looking relieved as if a heavy weight had been lifted. They had done their duty. The taxi took me home through the fading cityscape, the familiar streets growing smaller behind the glass. At that moment, a stark thought struck me. If I continued down this path, someone else would make all the decisions about how I lived my remaining years. That realization jolted me wide awake. It wasn't that my children had changed, it was me. I had surrendered my right to decide. I thought that handing over my savings was an act of trust and that giving away the house was simply leaving an inheritance. But the reality was harsher than I expected. Growing old isn't safeguarded by inheritance alone, nor by the goodwill of your children. True peace in your later years comes only from protecting yourself, with your own hands. I resolved then and there, from now on, I would protect my life. After returning from the hospital, I spent the entire day sorting through my belongings. I cleared away what was no longer needed, but more importantly, I cleared my mind. That night, I picked up the phone and dialed a familiar number. "David Parker here," a calm voice answered. David had served as a court clerk in Ohio for decades. After retiring, he offered free legal consultations and taught community classes on wills, trusts, and elder law. As soon as he heard my voice, concern filled his tone. "Hey, you haven't been showing up for the meetings lately. I heard you've been unwell. How are you holding up?" I sighed deeply and gave him a brief rundown of my hospital stay. There was a pause, and then David said slowly, "You finally won, didn't you? You're your own best guarantee now. I used to be just like you, too trusting, too hopeful." He told me a story about how he'd transferred ownership of his home to his son, believing his son would take care of him securely. Instead, it had been the opposite. He constantly had to be careful around his daughter-in-law, and everything he wanted to do required permission. What was I supposed to do? He sighed heavily. Looking back, David said he shouldn't have handed over everything so easily. Then, with calm but firm conviction, he said, "Listen carefully, Johnson. In this day and age, there are three things every senior must protect: money, health, and home. Lose even one, and you'll be treated like something used up and discarded." His words hit me hard. I was silent for a long moment, bitter feelings rising. The truth in his words stung. The question isn't whether giving is good or bad. It's that once you give away something important, you lose your right to choose. I said softly, "But David, I've already spent nearly all my savings." He didn't hesitate. "Then you have to start now. There's no more time to waste. First, go to your bank. Review all your accounts, your statements, everything. Then find someone you can trust, not to depend on, but to support you when you need it. Don't rely solely on your children. The most important thing is that your house is still in your name, right?" I nodded. "Good. Then call me. I'll help you draft a will that protects your wishes." After I hung up, I sat quietly, watching the early morning light spill over the city skyline. It was peaceful but a little lonely. In that stillness, I realized, I was not finished yet. Life had given me another chance. I would no longer let others decide everything about my future. I'd always believed that being kind and gentle to my family was enough. But now I saw clearly, unlimited kindness can strip away your dignity. From this day forward, I would take back control, not to fight my children, but to build an escape plan and a shield to protect my life in the years ahead. The very next morning, I followed David's advice and started making real changes. First and foremost, I took back control of my finances. I made a firm decision to bring all my assets back into my own hands. My first stop was Midwest Bank, where I'd received my pension for over a decade. Previously, I had authorized my eldest son, Michael, to manage transactions and transfers for convenience. But this time, I asked the bank to revoke all third-party access. From now on, no transaction will occur without my signature and identity verification. I canceled all automatic withdrawals connected to my children, closed any credit cards linked to them, and stopped every automatic payment. I requested a new debit card with a low spending limit, keeping only a small balance in my checking account for daily expenses. The rest was transferred into fixed deposits with strict withdrawal restrictions. Online withdrawals and transfers were disabled entirely. Every transaction would require me to appear in person at the bank counter. This wasn't about mistrust. It was about building a firewall of reason to protect myself from decisions made in emotional moments. This wasn't about distrust or suspicion toward anyone. I wasn't accusing my family or friends of anything. Instead, it was about creating a firewall of reason, a protective boundary to guard myself against impulsive decisions made in emotional moments. When you're vulnerable, it's easy to be pushed or pulled in directions that don't honor your wishes. I wanted to be clear-headed and deliberate. The next step was to get serious about managing my day-to-day finances. I downloaded a simple budgeting app on my smartphone and started tracking every expense. Utilities like electricity and water, groceries, medication costs, everything. It was eye-opening to see it all laid out so clearly. I set a firm monthly spending limit of $1,500. Any money left over after bills and essentials would be moved into a separate emergency savings account, my safety net for unforeseen events. I also laid down a strict new financial rule for myself. No giving, no lending, no guaranteeing loans unless absolutely necessary. This wasn't about being selfish. It was about protecting the resources I needed to live independently. In my mind, savings are like a map for navigating old age. When your health is good, savings are what keep that stability intact and allow you to make choices freely. On top of financial planning, I began thinking seriously about long-term care, not because I expected to be alone, but because I wanted to control how I would be cared for when the time came. I wanted to be the one who chooses my care, not someone who's cared for without a say. The very next day, I reached out to the Chicago Elderly Support Center and requested a home care needs assessment. The staff was kind and patient, explaining the public support services available: twice weekly house cleaning, assistance with bathing and personal care, help with errands like grocery shopping and medical appointments. The cost was about $550 a month, reasonable, but with a waiting list and limited staffing. Through a neighbor's recommendation, I met Anna Foster, a dependable woman in her mid-40s who had cared for a couple of elderly folks nearby and was well regarded in the community. We sat down at my kitchen table, and I clearly explained what I needed: help preparing breakfast and light cleaning every morning, companionship for afternoon walks, and sometimes a ride to doctor's appointments or community events. Anna agreed to work several days a week, and we settled on a monthly fee of $950. We signed a simple contract spelling out her schedule, holidays, and salary. Anna wasn't a nurse. She was a companion. Someone to share life's moments with. I still remember her very first words to me: "Mr. Anderson, you're not a patient. You've got plenty of reasons to live." Those words gently melted the cold shell around my heart. I felt alive again. I wanted to live with dignity, with purpose. I learned that protecting dignity in old age requires 3 key elements. First, setting legal boundaries. This house, the home my wife Linda and I built over decades, is my sanctuary. I will not be sent off to a nursing home and treated like a stranger in a place I don't belong. Second, money is self-determination. You don't need to live extravagantly, but having enough to live without relying on others' goodwill is the bare minimum. And third, health is the last bastion of freedom. Even as your body weakens, the right to choose how you live, where you go, and who you see must remain intact. David came to my house a few days later and helped me draft a formal will. We spelled out 3 conditions, signed everything, and even video recorded the signing as proof. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Then I submitted all the paperwork to the county clerk's office to make it official. After all that was done, I sat on my balcony with a hot cup of tea. Morning sunlight streamed softly through the window, illuminating quiet neighbors walking on the sidewalk below. For the first time in years, I felt a calm clarity and a warm sense of peace. For 10 years, I tried to protect my family's peace through silent sacrifice, never realizing that what truly needed protection was my own confidence and worth, the foundation to live fully. That confidence isn't something children hand down. It's reclaimed with every decision and action you take for yourself. From today forward, I decided I would live life on my terms. The first few weeks after settling into this new rhythm, I was busier than ever. Anna arrives every morning at exactly 6:30 a.m. She prepares breakfast, checks my blood pressure, and tidies up around the house. Her movements are swift and careful, and though she says little, she's keenly attuned to my moods, something rare in a caregiver. At noon, she cooks simple, nourishing meals. I eat well and naturally feel ready for a nap afterward. In the afternoons, we take walks in the nearby park or attend gentle stretching classes at the senior center. At first, I worried that having someone around every day might feel intrusive or unsettling. But the opposite happened. Anna doesn't nag or push me to eat more or go to bed earlier. She simply stays by my side quietly, like a close friend. My health steadily improved. I took my medications diligently and kept up with regular exercise. At my next checkup, Dr. Roberts looked surprised. "Mr. Anderson, your numbers have improved significantly. You seem very motivated to live." I smiled softly. It wasn't just motivation. I had found a life filled with purpose and a plan. One Saturday morning, my eldest son Michael called. "Dad, are you free this weekend? We'd love to come visit." His voice was tentative, almost worried I might say no. I answered warmly, "Of course, we'd love to have you." That afternoon, Michael, his wife Michelle, and their 2 kids came over. The moment my grandchildren walked through the door, they ran to me and wrapped me in big hugs. "Grandpa, can I stay here for a few days?" My youngest grandson asked eagerly. I felt a rush of warmth in my chest but kept my smile gentle as I stroked their heads. During lunch, Michael turned to me and said, "Dad, Sarah, and I talked, and we thought maybe we could take turns staying here a few days each month. We'd still rely on Anna most of the time and split the caregiving costs with you." I paused, set down my fork, and met Michael's eyes. He looked a little nervous, waiting for my answer. I smiled quietly and said, "That won't be necessary. Anna's doing an excellent job, and I'm comfortable now. You have your own lives to live. Don't worry about me." Michelle quietly wiped her glasses, exhaling softly. Michael ate slowly, saying nothing more. I understood. They felt a little lonely, but deep down, I realized this was exactly the outcome I wanted. I don't want to be cared for. I want to be respected. Growing older doesn't mean losing your value. It means changing how you exist in this world. In the past, I gave everything I had for my family, never expecting anything in return. But deep down, there was a quiet ache, a feeling of being unseen, unacknowledged for all those sacrifices. Now, I ask for nothing. That simple shift has gradually allowed me to become someone my children truly see. Not just a provider or a burden, but a person with dignity and a life of my own. I've come to believe that true parenting isn't just about rushing to help when a parent stumbles. It's about recognizing their efforts and their presence while they're still strong and independent. After a few weeks of this new approach, my children started reaching out more often. Sarah sent me a package from New York filled with health supplements she thought might help. Michael offered to help coordinate my doctor's appointments and checkups. Even my son-in-law, whom I rarely spoke to before, called just to ask if I liked orchids and invited me to his home to help with a beekeeping hobby. I smiled quietly to myself. There was no pride in these moments, only a calm peace that spread through my heart. I hadn't done anything extraordinary. I simply took back control of my life and treated myself with respect in my later years. That small change softened the way my children saw me, and in turn, how they related to me. One afternoon, while I was washing dishes, Anna quietly said, "Mr. Anderson, your kids care about you. Maybe they just didn't know how to show it before." I nodded, unable to find words. Compassion, I realized, needs space and time to be expressed. Now I finally understand. Being strong isn't about stubbornness or insisting on doing everything alone. It's about creating room and reassurance, so that loved ones approach you out of genuine affection, not out of obligation. Life teaches lessons that only experience can bring. For the past year, I often sit alone on my balcony. Next to me sits the wooden chair where my wife Linda used to sit, watching the neighborhood together. Sometimes I wonder, If I hadn't fallen ill that day, would things still be the same? Would I still believe that endless giving would naturally make my children respond? But life taught me something different. Love isn't measured by money. Endless giving doesn't guarantee anything in return. Caregiving, I've learned, is about turning the focus back to yourself. Looking back, I now see the three essentials for peace of mind in old age. First, money, not to flaunt wealth, but to protect the right to make your own choices. I used to think having enough was easy, so I spent carelessly. Now, I know enough means saving for tomorrow, not spending everything today. Having a stable income means I can say no to unsuitable care homes and hire caregivers without relying solely on my children. I once gave Michael over $8,000 to buy a house. That was a father's love. But now I understand. Keeping money for myself is the shield that protects my dignity. No one wants to be sick. Not because we want to live longer, but because losing the power to choose is terrifying. I watch my diet, keep regular clinic visits, and do light exercise every day. Not to add years, but to keep the freedom to decide what to do, where to go, and who to see today. Freedom in old age isn't about the size of your bank account. It's about the ability to stand and walk on your own. I'm no medical expert, but I know small habits help me live by my own will. Walking 3,000 steps daily, avoiding fluids before bedtime, never holding in bathroom needs, and taking medication on time. Every morning, I open the windows of my modest home in quiet Chicago to greet the morning light. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. From the kitchen wafts the aroma of simple breakfasts Anna prepares. Miso soup, white rice, boiled eggs. In the living room, the scent of white chrysanthemums I tend fills the air. Outside, neighbors pass by with soft greetings of good morning. I no longer long for daily visits from my children. I'm no longer hurt by past coldness. Our current relationship is natural, easy, and grounded in mutual respect. Sometimes, grandchildren stay over during school breaks. We stroll to the nearby park, play badminton, wander around the pond, and enjoy traditional snacks and barley tea at a small cafe. One day, a grandchild asked, "Grandpa, don't you get lonely being by yourself?" I laughed and said, "Not at all. I'm busy reading books, exercising, and playing chess with friends. I don't have time to be lonely." Maybe they don't quite understand yet, but those words come from a long journey. I never regretted sacrificing for my children. But more than that, I'm grateful I woke up halfway through and reclaimed part of myself. That part is dignity, above all else. For our post-war generation, honor and dignity aren't shouted from rooftops. They're quietly protected. They live in the strength to live alone, cover their expenses, manage their finances, and decide how their life's final chapter unfolds. Many friends tell me, the younger generation faces so much pressure these days. It's not that they don't care, it's that times have changed. I nod in agreement. As parents, we must change too. We can't be bound by old ideas, that parents always raise children, and children must care for parents. We have to learn how to balance distance with respect. Sometimes my children ask me, "Dad, is there anything you need?" Each time I answer, "Dad lacks nothing now." Because I already have everything I want. My own life, the power to decide, 3 good meals a day, freedom to walk, restful sleep, cozy familiar places, and older friends I can call any time. That is the richest wealth in old age. If you're around my age, and you've ever wondered whether to keep giving to your children, sacrifice everything, or hope for something in return, let me tell you this. Happiness in old age isn't something your children provide. It's something you prepare for yourself. Protecting your money means peace of mind. Protecting your health means freedom. Protecting your home means confidence. These 3 are the strongest weapons to live the second half of life with pride and independence. They are also the greatest example for your children and grandchildren. Because one day, they too will realize. Parents who live confidently, who choose for themselves, and who hold their dignity are not burdens. They're the most reliable presence in their hearts. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on this personal journey of reclaiming dignity, independence, and control in later life. I hope my story has given you insight and inspiration on how important it is to protect your money, health, and home, and most importantly, to live life on your terms. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What is one lesson or idea from this story that resonated with you? What will you take away and put into practice in your own life starting today? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and truly appreciate your voice. If you found value in this video, please do me a big favor. Leave your comment, hit the like button, share this video with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any future content designed to empower and support you. Remember, your journey is yours to own, and it's never too late to take back control. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.